dugsiga boardingka iyo maalinlaha ah ee Amano Boarding and Day School.
Hello Form 3s, welcome back to Amano online classes. This is Teacher David again with you. Today's lesson will focus on grammar, and our lesson topic is pronouns. I think this is something that you've done and you use it every day. We use pronouns on a daily day-to-day conversation. I, you, he, she, mine, all those you've known. But I want us to dig deep and look at some objectives of the lesson. Today I want us to define what a pronoun is. Then I want you to be in a position to name at least 4 different kinds of pronouns, and thereafter construct sentences with the different kinds of pronouns. So let's begin. Okay? Just they, me, what, this, those, I, mine, he, him, themselves, yours. Oh, this is what we call, these are the pronouns. These are the pronouns. You see? These are words that you use every day. They're not magic words. They're not new words to you. But I want us to dig deep down into different kinds and how we can effectively use them in our sentences. Okay. So, what is a pronoun? This is simple. They do what? They replace nouns. So once you use it can be a noun that you've used already and you want to replace it, because sometimes it will be a little bit boring to be repetitive and use Mr. David, Mr. David, Mr. David. You can simply use he to replace noun. Okay. Now they come in different varieties. Those are the kinds I was talking about. So let's see. The obvious ones, the ones that you know, the ones that I've mentioned: I, you, he, she, they, them. What do you call them? These are personal pronouns. These are personal pronouns. So let's move forward and see. So they're divided into 2 main categories: personal nominative pronouns, which is also known as the subject pronouns. So these are used as the subject of sentences, okay, or the predicate of a noun. So I want us to look at them, but I'll categorize them into singular and plural. So the first person, we have I and we in plural. Second person, you, and you remains you. Third person, you can see he, she, and it, and they in plural. Okay, so let's move to the next one. So these ones are known as subjective cases. That's why I talked about them as subject pronouns. Okay, now the second type of these, personal objective pronouns. These are used as direct object or indirect objects, or sometimes object of prepositions. So they also can be singular as well as plural. I want you to look at these. So the first person, we have me and us, you, which still remains you. Third person, we have him, her, or it, for things that are not human, and them in plural. Okay. Let's move to the next, possessive pronouns. So you can look at these. My pen, I own it. So they are used to talk about ownership or relationship between one noun and another. So the first one, my, it is mine. Our house, that house is ours. Third person, you can see his pen. Okay? Her pen. Oh, the pen is hers, or it's its. Their pen, theirs. Okay? Good. So let's move to the next kind, reflexive pronouns. So, or intensive. So the first one is myself, ourselves. Second, okay, you can see all these. But I want you to look at first person and the third person. First person we have myself, ourselves. Then the second person we have yourself, yourselves. And the third person, himself, herself, itself, or themselves. But this is where the caution is. You have to be cautious in what you use. If you see the possessive pronouns his, I've seen a number of students writing like this. Okay? So never should you use these ones, because those ones are not reflexive pronouns. So how then do you know when it is reflexive as well as intensive? So if you omit a noun that the meaning of the sentence you say remains the same, then it's intensive. So that's the only difference. Okay? So when are they reflexive? If intensive, if there's an omission of a pronoun but the meaning stays the same, then that particular pronoun is intensive and not reflexive. Good. Let's move to the next kind. I want you to look at that. Oh, Mercedes designed the costume itself. So that's intensive. So you can see if we omit Mercedes designed the costume, you can see if the meaning will remain the same, then it becomes intensive. Good. So let's move to the next one. Oh, you can see John tried everything. John tried everything it could think of to free itself. So these are reflexive. These are reflexive pronouns. Okay? Let's go to the next kind, demonstrative pronoun. So this one's point out a particular place or thing or an idea. These, that, those, etc. Okay? For instance, in a sentence, we can say, this is my cat Lucy. This is my cat Mother. Or that is my cat Mother. Good. Let's move to the next. Interrogative pronouns. Okay. So these ones are used to introduce questions. We ask questions in everyday English. What's your name? Who is that? Etc. So these are called interrogative pronouns. Okay. Oh, what are you looking at? Okay. So I want you to look at these. Quite a number of them. So, what is your name? Who is that? Whom did you give my pen? Oh, which one do I take? Whose pen is this? Whose pen is this? Good. Okay, I think you know that. This one. But what about if you don't know particular object that you're referring to? So we're talking about indefinite pronouns. Who is this? What about the other person? What about that person? I think you can guess. Okay. So here we go. So these particular pronouns will replace nouns that are not specifically named. The nouns that are not specifically named. That's what we talk about, indefinite pronouns. Okay? You can see this. So nouns that are not specifically named. Okay, let's look at singular indefinite pronouns. So here we have a list here. I just want you to look at the list and see when you're using them. Another, anybody, anyone, anything. Oh, is anybody here? Oh, I have nothing left in my house. Oh, do you want anything? No. How much is this pen? So those are singular indefinite pronouns. So let's go to the next one, plural. Oh, both of us are learning. Few students watch the video. Many students stay at home during the pandemic. Oh, several shops were closed in Hargeisa. Okay, let's look indefinite pronouns. Singular, this one can be used both singular and plural as well. All, any, most, none, and so. None of us went to the market yesterday. So, good. So, I want you to look at these. All king's horses. So, frankly, if all king's men could put him together again, what chance do we have? So you can see those particular stories. Last but not least, I want to focus on relative pronouns. Okay? So relative pronoun introduces a subordinate or dependent clause. So they include that, which, who, whom, and whose. Okay? So I want you to look at these. Oh, most of the students here, especially the boys, they love this car. Okay? So the Ferrari is the one that I want. So that introduces a relative clause. What particular car do you want? It's a Ferrari. Okay? So following that, you have to know what do you replace, because our definition was you replace. So what is an antecedent and how does it do with pronoun? So an antecedent is the noun that the pronoun replaces. So in a nutshell, and now a pronoun replaces nouns. And that one is what you call antecedent. So when you go out there, what I want you to do is use the pronouns appropriately. Otherwise, we've come to an end of the lesson today. I wish you all the best.